Hey, movie fans and cinematic conquistadors, welcome to Big Dumb Content. Today, me and my pals are picking apart 1996's live-action animated sports comedy, Space Jam, which is, for some reason, dearly loved by my generation for reasons beyond my comprehension. I'm Andrew. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts, Rafa Rodriguez.
Hey, what's up? I'm Rafa Rodriguez, like he said, and it's the internet.
And also, the great Cary Spector.
That's me. I'm great. Watch Tin Knockers.
Let's go, Bob!
All right, now, Rafa, can you give us a little summary of the movie for the people who might not have seen it yet? I think it's past 20 or so years since it's been out.
Space Jam 1996 is the longest Air Jordan commercial to date, featuring Michael Jordan, Billy West, Wayne Knight, Bill Murray, Green Man, Charles Barkley, and a fresh pair of 11s. All right. In an attempt to bring customers to their intergalactic amusement park, 4 aliens travel to Earth with the intention of kidnapping the Looney Tunes from the center of our real world. Through a series of wacky events, Bugs and the other Toons must recruit Michael Jordan and their aid against these terrestrial foes.
Thank you for that, Rafa. That was more than enough to explain what this movie's about. All right, guys. So, fellas, let's break this bad boy down. Who wants to go first?
I'm wearing a Space Jam shirt. I feel like I got to take the lead on this one. So I got to start off by saying I'm a little biased. All right, I'm going to preface this whole conversation with that. I had a Space Jam birthday party for like my 3rd or 4th birthday.
Wow.
Okay? Talking life-size Michael Jordan cutout. Okay? I'm talking t-shirts. Okay? Talking VHS that I wore through the tape watching so many times. Okay? So, I like the movie. That's needless to say. But does it live up to my current high cinematic cinephile standards? Yeah, it's pretty good still. I like it.
Cary, what do you think?
So, honestly, Space Jam's a jam. I had a blast. It's a great time.
You had a great time, guys.
Great time.
It ain't no Roger Rabbit. I'll tell you that right now. I'm a huge defender and lover of Roger Rabbit. There's not many good live-action animated blended movies. I guess we'll refer to them as blended movies. Someone fact-check me on that. Make sure I don't get canceled for saying that.
Until then, let's talk about the music.
Disney Plus would not be able to show this movie without a new replaced song for the R. Kelly, the 2 R. Kelly appearances at the beginning and the end. Yeah. It would be something very generic and maybe MIDI-based.
This is not about music!
Oh, man.
Every single song is so 90s. It's all 90s dance music and club hits.
Warner Brothers, when they realize they don't have a very good movie on their hands, they're like, fuck it, let's see what our labels are doing with music these days. We can pump something into this movie.
What are they playing out in Miami? Let's put some of that in the movie.
I would go to Space Jam night, and my local basketball court, if they had a Space Jam night, I'd definitely maybe think about going, as long as there weren't monsters there. It's dangerous out there.
I want to go back to the music real quick because, it's pretty much the first thing once the movie actually starts, because there's a little preamble where little Mike, right, he's shooting hoops in his dirt court, and his dad's just like, shut the fuck up, I'm trying to sleep. Like, he just knows his whole life path from day one. And so it's just like a little thing of like, Mike is Mike. He's always been Mike. You want to be like Mike? You can't be like Mike. He's different. And so, it's basically that. And then it cuts right to this intro sequence where, they get the blood pumping. We get the Space Jam theme song. We get all of the action shots of Michael Jordan slam dunking and dribbling up and down the court.
And it looks like someone recorded a VHS off a TV screen for some reason. If there's a movie that's nostalgia bait, this is up there. This is like good prime example.
I just want to say that in the credits, first person to appear accredited is Michael Jordan, obviously, and the second accredited person is Bugs Bunny, not Billy West.
You're right.
Not Wayne Knight. Bugs Bunny.
Billy West got fucked on that credit. Let's be real.
He got fucked.
Not the first time Warner Brothers has fucked over an actor.
No. No.
Won't be the fucking last, all right? We're going to see what happens with Space Jam: The New Legacy.
I feel like Space Jam 2 is going to feel more like a soulless ad somehow.
What in the Matrix hell?
But with this, it's like Michael Jordan was an international icon. So like of any person on earth that this movie could be based around, it could only be Michael Jordan, who is just worshipped everywhere around the world. And like that shows like it made 90 million domestic, 230 million international, and then made $1 billion. That's just like where I got this source from. $1 billion in retail sales. That's Lunchboxes. No, Lunchboxes, action figures, t-shirts, like all of
my
that.
birthday party.
Birthday parties.
Your birthday party contributed a lot to the,
I was
and
half of the
grosses.
domestic gross for Space Jam single-handedly.
Like and I don't think there's anyone else that had that like pull and could have done this at this moment. Like this movie was just fractions of degrees away from just not being made. Like Warner Brothers basically had no faith in it. They were trying to push other stuff. All the like executives were like, I don't know how we can put such a great character like Bugs Bunny in this kind of modern setting. Like I don't know if that's gonna work.
$1 billion in retail sales.
It had an $80 million budget. A lot of that was probably going to building a dome that Michael Jordan could play hoop in.
I will say, at least I feel like Michael Jordan's as a character is given the bare minimum to do. It's, better than most kids' movies where, you don't really ever get to know the main character. It's gotta face off against the aliens in an Alien Danny DeVito thing, whatever that is.
It honestly makes sense why they keep cutting back to Charles Barkley walking around in the middle of nowhere, leaning against a fence to watch teens play basketball. Like anytime it cuts to that, I was just like, wait, why is this happening?
Yeah, well, I think, if you look at who produced this movie, three of my favorite guys, because they made one of my favorite movies, Ghostbusters. You got Ivan Reitman, the infamous director-writer, director-producer, my bad. You got Joe Mudgick, again from Ghostbusters, and you got Dan Goldberg. Those guys were popping out hits in the 80s, and then not so hits in the 90s, and then, Space Jam. So that's where I think that their influence comes in for sure. Like, you got that, kind of like cheeky, a little bit like, is it kinky, a little sexy, a little just odd, existential,
All the golf course humor is like that for me. It's like all the Ivan Reitman leaning like
I'm
jokes.
fixing a divot. Oh.
All that golf course stuff for me was better than any of the Caddyshack movies put together. Man, let's give it up for Bill Murray answering Ivan Reitman's call, and getting back to him, but not being able to do Ghostbusters 3 in the 90s.
I mean, but barely.
I would like to think this was maybe a way for Ivan Reitman to try to get Bill Murray back on the Ghostbusters 3 talk in the 90s, but, displeased after this experience.
Maybe this is a Ghostbusters movie, though, because I'm going to call one particular line of dialogue out here. Bear with me. Bill Murray, he says, Larry's not white. He's clear. Now, what I ascertained from this is Larry Bird's actually a ghost, a poltergeist, if you would. And this is him, detecting and looking into it and investigating these reports. And while he's on that subject, he runs into the intergalactic foes known as the Monstars.
You might be onto something, Rafa. We can't forget the Dan Aykroyd Casper 95 cameo as well. So we're going to look into that, whenever we do our next episode, because this could be a vast Ivan Reitman conspiracy.
I do have to say, I think the shoe heist sequence is probably my favorite sequence of the movie, because like it's just what just absolutely like captures my gaze is how perfectly they sync up like the real life movements of things with the characters themselves. Like that's the Roger Rabbit kind of stuff. That's like and it's so subtle, but it's absolutely seamless. Like it looks so good. And with like later on when they're actually playing basketball and there's like kind of some weird perspective stuff going on where like the sizes of the monstars keeps kind of changing around, and it's like there's some moments where it just looks a little bit funky, but like that I thought was just like phenomenal. It sells it, like you're not even really thinking about it because it just works, it flows.
That for me is like the peak of all of the SFX in the movie. Like I'm like, oh yeah, for all that. But then when it comes to the actual game, like of the movie, that's where everything gets rough. Everything.
We'll get to that because that's such a, oh man.
Push that out of my mind for now.
One thing I got to bring up. All right. So, you know, it's something that's persisted in culture ever since. The sexiness of Lola Bunny is probably the most out of place thing in this movie. Like, it's so unsettling.
Okay.
And also I have this one theory that this movie is why we have furries today, because there were kids, teens, impressionable youths watching this movie.
Michael Jordans.
You guys doing watching
What
this stuff?
is that?
It's bad for you.
And then suddenly they're like, this is just a fun Looney Tunes movie. Suddenly the sax starts playing and a silhouette shows up of a bunny in a crop top, and suddenly they're freaking out and losing their mind, and it's just like probably the weirdest element to me about this movie, especially because, you know, she's really good at basketball, so that's great, but then is just there to literally get Bugs Bunny hard.
Yeah.
It's so strange seeing it now, but I guess that's what you would do in any movie in the 90s, is you'd have like the boys and the boys being boys and then throw in the animal piece of ass. I don't.
Well, you know, I think they wanted to update Bugs Bunny and give him the not gaze, you know, because he used to dress like a woman all the time, which, you know, I grew up with. That's my Bugs Bunny, you know, a very verse Bugs Bunny. But they had to make this Bugs Bunny straight, lean, good at basketball, friends with Michael Jordan, not friends with Bill Murray. Their relationship was kind of vague in this movie. You know?
I'm gonna relate this back to Roger Rabbit in the sense that it's almost like a Jessica Rabbit character, right?
It's an inverse.
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, they're like, well, we're not going to have a human woman get it on with Bugs Bunny because that's a whole like Sonic 06 situation, and that's kind of gross. So what we're going to do to make this a little more, what if she's a rabbit, right? What if it's another rabbit? That's not weird, right? If it's just a lady rabbit Bugs Bunny wants to get with, sure. And when you're writing it like that, okay, that makes sense. But like you said, Carrie, soon as that sax music hits, you're like, what is this, right? Like, why is my kid watching this right now? And I don't think it's the sole reason for our furry epidemic or pandemic or insurgence. But I will say that it has to be like a big thing. Like if you ask furries, like, you know, out and proud furries, what's one of the first things you remember from childhood that like gave you that like suspicion that this was something you're into? This is probably it. Like this is probably number one for a lot of people.
So far, I've rewatched or watched two Warner Brothers produced movies in the past year, Godzilla and Kong, and now Space Jam, that promote this Hollow Earth theory. What's going on, Warner Brothers? What the fuck is going on? Is like Looney Tunes being in Hollow Earth, was that lore before this movie? Have they always existed inside of our Earth?
Well, it started in the commercial at the very least, right? Like you've seen the commercials, Carrie.
Yeah. Bugs Bunny is living under a random gymnasium and is pissed off that people are playing basketball right above where he lives. It's like, that comes with the real estate, buddy. Come on.
He's like in a cave under the court that also has like a manhole in it or something. Yeah. So there's a lot going on there.
I mean, as a concept, I do kind of enjoy that. It's the inverse of reality, right? Like that's all Looney Tunes is. Like that's what makes because I love classic Looney Tunes. It's like it's perfect, like just constantly defying your expectations, because in your head you're thinking reality, but then Looney Tunes are like, okay, yeah, but what if the exact opposite happens? And then it makes you chuckle, and that's a Looney Tunes episode in a nutshell.
I love my Looney Tunes, all right? Nothing like a little Roadrunner action, all right? Little meep. I was a little disappointed on this rewatch, but I think it's got a good spirit. I think the Looney Tunes do their work as best as they can against, Michael Jordan and just blank green screen stages.
I do think one of my favorite parts is when it's like the Michael Jordan's kids watching Looney Tunes at home, and then Porky the Pig runs on during the Roadrunner bit and goes, guys, we gotta go, there's a meeting going on, and then they just leave, and it's just that shot of the screen with nothing going on, and then the kids going, what happened? Yeah, like that as a concept in itself is hilarious, of them kind of being live streamed. It's their real lives being shown, broadcasted on TV.
They're furries. It's a fetish show. Looney Tunes are our fetish show. That's the whole deep thing. They live in the middle of Hollow Earth theory once again.
That's the deep lore for all the weebos.
Well, it's a Space Jam, I will say, in terms of animation, blending live action, it's better than Cool World.
Welcome to my world.
So, nobody likes Cool World, folks.
Fuck you!
All of the CGI people were the worst part of the movie, graphically or in terms of effects. Like, gross. I mean, so there's Wayne Knight turning into a balloon thing. Disgusting.
Flying around.
There's
Hilarious.
Michael Jordan becoming a basketball. Disgusting. And then there's also Michael Jordan's horrible elongated arm that to this day haunts me.
That was the worst part of the movie for me. I am sad I had to witness that. Is that the only moment where he turned loony?
No, well, he becomes a ball.
The basketball, yeah. I was tuning out by the end, guys.
And you know what the funny thing is? He's like, well, now you tell me you were a ball 2 hours ago or whatever.
With the program, buddy.
Really anything, any CG from the 90s, it's stuff they're developing themselves, and they just have the most limited kind of technology, and yet it still can be something that holds up today. Like Jurassic Park still looks amazing. It's still going to look amazing in another several decades. It's still going to look almost a lot better than any Marvel movie that comes out, because it has that bonded element of the live action with the CG. It's so good.
Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah. I mean, it's from the DP, director of photography of, classics like Taxi Driver, Kindergarten Cop, Raging Bull. So, I was expecting a little more, beef to everything. I am excited to see what they do with this new one. I hope they have less cartoons in the stands that are just, pixelated screensavers. They have some, working, Jar Jar Binks level, stand-in and stuff like that.
Okay, so I mean, the one thing I'll say is, like anyone who has seen the movie Trainwreck, LeBron James was easily the funniest part about that movie, hands down. And so, I know he's got some good comedic timing. I'm just worried that this is just another competition for that GOAT position, and he's eyeing for the throne. He's King James. He wants to have that movie alongside Michael Jordan. But a 2-hour runtime, and that website looks like this is just going to be a complete soulish cash grab, and I don't know. I'm going to watch it on HBO Max. I don't think I'm going to see it in a theater.
I just want to quick shout out, MVP status, give my Oscar Golden Globe Award nominee directorial debut special edition to the dog puppet or the sack of potatoes or whatever it is he caught, because
that dog does come back in the weirdest way when they open the door and it's holding the shorts in its mouth, but it looks like it's 500 feet tall.
Yeah, the proportions are fucking crazy.
It's so confusing, and then the kids just come over, wrestle it from them. But like when and it looks like they added some distortion to give it some angry looking eyes. Like it looks so funky.
They didn't have the Babe technology yet. We were still a year. Or maybe they just didn't give it to them. Just be glad the dog didn't talk. It should have transformed into the Pitbull from Looney Tunes. They have one, right?
It should have transformed into Pitbull and just done an original song. I mean, it would have fit with the rest of the music.
Surprise! The new legacy. Don't want to spoil it for you, but...
He does have so much film history with the soundtrack of Gotti.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Not
saying.
forget
Is the man...
Men in Black 3.
He knows cinema. That's all I'm saying. Basketball Jones.
Yeah.
The song. I don't think that's the name of the song, or maybe it is.
Oh, man. I don't even want to... What is going on with that song?
I praised the music, and I feel like I got to call that song out. That song in particular at that time.
An obsession. A burning desire.
It's Charles Barkley. He's playing a pickup game of basketball with a bunch of underage teenage girls.
That's what was happening, right? I couldn't believe what was happening before my eyes.
There's just this sultry, like, R&B song with, like, a deep voice guy being like, yeah.
Mommy, I'm scared of this movie.
If you look in the background, there's another game happening behind them with all boys, young boys of the same age, and he chose, of the two available groups to play basketball with, Charles Barkley actively chose to hang out, watch, and play with the girls as opposed to the boys. And I just want to let that speak for itself.
Shouldn't even be here. Be gone.
If they took out the song, I think, that block of movie would go down a little bit better.
Do you know that Curtis Blow song, Basketball? The ones like, I'm playing basketball.
See, it needed something like that, like a car wash anthem.
Basketball. And like, if they played that, like just a fun basketball song, like no problem, not creepy. And so he's like, damn, maybe I really did lose my mojo to a magic basketball from interterrestrial aliens.
I want the interquel of Charles Barkley just having a breakdown.
It wasn't a dream. It really happened.
Sure, Mr. Barkley. Now take these 2 pills.
My notes so his character's name is Stan, and I wrote, Stan is a Michael Jordan stan.
Please clap.
This is going to be fun to edit. I wonder if there was a longer, more PG-13 oriented cut, or, version where, we see all those basketball players, dealing with their frustrations. Because that's a funny movie in and of itself, I love when a guy really loses, when a character loses their mojo, it's good dramatic, purpose,
So
I'm amazed that this thing even came together.
I think it really is like a pretty magnificent achievement when you're looking at something that became so culturally revered and has lasted, this long that we're still talking about it like nowadays, and now there's an upcoming sequel. Like it. I mean, it's lightning in a bottle in a way. Like there's so many things that could have gone way more wrong, and things that never could have happened or come to being, but like the fact that it did limp to the finish line and is a rewatchable product, like it's pretty wild.
You're right on that. I do think it could have been a lot funnier, frankly, not to be the contrarian, but keep it real, have some verisimilitude. All right, got one thing going on, Bugs Bunny living in Hollywood, aliens also, so you got 2 things going on. All right.
The climax of this Academy Award level film is Michael Jordan in a baseball uniform climbing out of a spaceship with Wayne Knight as they gracefully walk to I Believe I Can Fly, sung by R. Kelly.
You're telling me, man!
And everyone claps. And MJ, he just shows up with the magic basketball at the end, gives everyone back their powers, and they're all good.
My question is, what is the implication for Earth discovering that there's aliens and also cartoons living in the hollow Earth after this movie ends? Are they going to address this in the new one?
Oh, no.
What's with Bill Murray playing Bill Murray?
Yeah, go on.
I think that worked. It was just fine. It was him just, being like, he slimed me.
I honestly, compared to his performance in the last Ghostbusters,
Oh, brother. Well, he did stand up in Space Jam, so I'll give him that. He didn't just sit down immediately.
He showed some hustle, he was like up and at him, showing some action, on the court.
But for me, Space Jam, it's a kid's movie. It's 87 minutes. There's a lot of cool colors and stuff, and it made its money back in spades. It does have that weird Ivan Reitman, adult humor that pops in every now and then, which is interesting, but, we're coming off the 80s, so kids' movies could be a little harder edged and, little, wink, wink, if they made this in the 80s, with like a Larry Bird or something in the 80s as the main character, there would have been a shit maybe in there, a pair of naked boobs, but we didn't get 80s Space Jam. It was it was made for the 90s in that transitional period, a pre 9/11 movie, as I'll frame it for our video discussion today. Not quite kid friendly, but kid welcoming, especially Charles Barkley, I guess, for some reason. Still, for a live action animated comedy, whatever, Roger Rabbit's going to take my heart at the end of the day. I think it's comparable, but that's my 2 cents. Watch it. Go watch it. Watch it with your family. Call your family. Come over to watch Space Jam. Get some merch, like Rafa, Don't get the new merch.
Aside from all of my own personal beliefs towards the jam that was in space, the animation is solid in terms of like the actual cartoons, the Looney Tunes themselves, the shading, the way they're drawn, the way they move, the way they interact with the world in that one scene or collection of scenes. Mwah! So it does what it needs to do.
Sell shoes.
sell $1 billion worth of merchandise.
They did it.
It did it, folks. Mission accomplished.
I'm going to give Space Jam my final thought. A thumb in the middle. Thumb in the middle, kind of going up this way. It could go, you know. Maybe if I'm in the right mood, a few vodka tonics in me, you know. Thumb in the middle, like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. I think this quote of the director of the first Space Jam talking about the new Space Jam really sums up Space Jam as a whole.
Fuck you, Warner Brothers.
I think it's ridiculous to try and make a different movie out of it. I can't see it. I can't imagine how it could be what that film was. Not that Space Jam is a great movie, but it had touched something. It was something that touched that period of time because of who those athletes were, and that feeling doesn't exist anymore.
Damn.
All I'll say is check out The Last Dance. Last Dance, even if you're not even really into basketball, Last Dance I think is it's an exceptional documentary. Really gets you into the mind of the figure of Michael Jordan, and it's big. It's big.
If you're not gonna watch this Michael Jordan commercial, at least watch the Hanes Michael Jordan commercial where he has the Hitler mustache. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
pick one.
Man, you had to bring in the Hanes Michael Jordan.
Oh, hey, buddy. Anything on TV? Mike, I got a little constructive criticism for you. There's one thing I don't like about your commercials.
This is gonna be good.
Everybody's always showing you their underwear. It's not realistic.
Did everyone get
I
mad
just
at
got
you?
these. Comfort Flex waistband. Doesn't
No.
pinch, doesn't bind.
Worse. Everyone was real nice about it.